All right, so today we are gonna make a couple great recipes that would be great for any summer gathering this year. The first one is very much a family recipe. It was my grandmother's and is my mom's. So it's really cute that her handwriting is on this piece of paper with her makeshift recipe. It is one that does not require a lot of measuring. So it's basically just add as you go, as you feel more of something or less of something. There's no rhyme or reason, just make it and it'll be great. So it is potato salad, and we're gonna use potatoes, hard-boiled eggs, sweet pickles, and this are kind of the three main ingredients in it. And we are using Miracle Whip, which as a Southerner is kind of against everything I know now, but let me tell you, we grew up with Miracle Whip. That was kind of our main thing. So there is gonna be Miracle Whip in this recipe, but I promise it is worth using. You could substitute it, but I think you should try it with Miracle Whip before you make any assumptions. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get everything ready. Potatoes are already cooked as well as the eggs. So we're just gonna kind of get everything chopped up really quickly and mix everything together. In here. You're so cute. So we've already got the potatoes and the eggs diced up here. In this, I used about, depends, but I would say like about 6 medium-sized russet potatoes for this. And I ended up only using about 2 hard-boiled eggs. So again, it's just very subjective. Use however much you feel like you need. If you're feeding a large crowd, you're obviously going to need to do a little bit more. But I feel like this is great. This is probably going to be plenty to feed about 4 people. So now we just got to add the remaining ingredients here. We are going to add a few sweet pickles. Probably not my favorite, but they are kind of key in this. It's funny, my dad actually would pick these out of the potato salad whenever my mom would make it. Hopefully you don't do that, but I try to do them very, very small. So we will just try to get them as chopped up as fine as we can. I think that's probably about right. I'm probably just going to use probably just 1. Could maybe use 2 in here. Let's see. See if we can find a small one in here. We're just fishing for pickles today, guys. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna do 2 very small ones in here. Probably should be using a bigger knife for this, but paring knife is gonna be just fine, so I don't have to dirty up another knife. All right, and now we're gonna add mustard. So hopefully this comes out. I think this bottle is about empty. Going to a new bottle here. I'm gonna say maybe like 1/4 to 1/2 of a cup of mustard. That's probably about 1/4 of a cup. As we start mixing it, if we feel like it needs a little more mustard, we can definitely add that in. And then we're gonna do some Miracle Whip. Again, there are no proper measurements in this. I'm gonna say it's gonna be about a cup of Miracle Whip to start. And we may need to add a little bit more just based on if it's too dry or not. And then we're just gonna add like a dash or 2 of some salt. And then some crushed black pepper. I like a lot of pepper, so might even add a little bit more once we start eating it. And then we're gonna add some apple cider vinegar. My favorite way to measure it is with the cap. So we are gonna do 1, do about 2 of those. And don't ask me why, but that's how my mom's always measured her apple cider vinegar and stuff. Same when she makes deviled eggs. So we just do that as well. So we're just gonna mix it all up here. Make sure it gets nice and mixed in. I can already tell that I'm probably gonna need to add some more Miracle Whip in because I probably added just a bit too much mustard, but that's okay. Definitely more on the yellow side there. So we're just gonna balance it out with some Miracle Whip. So we are probably at close to like a cup and a half of Miracle Whip. So maybe 2 cups there. And this is definitely one of those potato salads that is definitely tangy. So it goes perfect with a hot burger, hot dog, sausage, anything on the grill. I love pairing a cool dish with my summer grilling items. So we're gonna give it a quick little taste here. I think that is perfect. Again, it's whatever level of flavors you feel like is good, but honestly, it's perfect. It's just that tang of the Miracle Whip, the apple cider vinegar, and the mustard just make it. So don't knock on Miracle Whip until you try it. I promise. It's like what makes the potato salad. So anyways, looks gorgeous. It was a very nice yellow beige color. We are gonna go ahead and put it in the refrigerator to let it just cool a little bit, and we'll pull it back out when it's time to eat. The next thing we're gonna do today is smash burgers. So I printed off the recipe off of my website. You guys can check that out at ruralrootsrecipes.com. And I'm gonna link it at the bottom of this video as well. So feel free to check it out. We are making smash burgers with a tangy smash sauce. We're also making wild game burgers today. We are using venison today. So a little bit of a twist on a typical smash burger. But I'm gonna make the sauce first. First thing we're gonna do is a half a cup of mayo. I like to use mayo with olive oil in it. You can use whatever mayo you prefer. We are Duke's people in this house. So, all right, now we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. Again, we try to measure as little as possible around here. It's just like, what do they say? Cooking from the heart. So we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons in of your favorite barbecue sauce. I prefer like a sweet to mild barbecue sauce for this. But whatever one you like would be great. And we're also gonna add about 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Apparently today is the day that all of my containers of condiments are like about out. So, okay, let's try that again. All right, we got our 2 tablespoons of ketchup. And then we're gonna do about 1/4 of a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. All right, we're gonna do 2 to 3 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Say that 5 times fast. And again, it's okay that it's not exact. I just made a mess with that. And then we're gonna do 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder. Again, it's the day of emptying pretty much everything. So there's only about probably 1/4 of a teaspoon left of this onion powder. So we're just gonna dump that in there. And then we're gonna do about 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. That looks good. And then salt and pepper. Some more freshly ground black pepper, and we're gonna combine it all. That should be a really good amount, but if you ever need to add anything in, I would say it's probably gonna be like your mayo, because it's your base ingredient. So just make sure it's all nice and mixed up. All right, we're gonna put that into the fridge. All right, so now that we've got the sauce in the fridge chilling right now, we are gonna work on the burgers themselves, which honestly, not a lot going into it flavor-wise, but just a little bit of things to help pull it together. So we are using wild game today. We are using some harvested venison. That's gonna be a great burger. And then we're using some salt. Smoked paprika is going to be a key element in it, along with some melted butter just for some extra fat. And then the favorite Worcestershire sauce that I probably am not saying right, and that's okay. And then we're pepper. I feel like it's in everything. So we're using a lot of black pepper around here. So, all right, I'm going to start assembling. Come on. Get in there. All right, so we're just using our hands, getting in here and mixing everything together. The one thing you got to be careful about is when you melt your butter, adding the cold meat into it, it solidifies the butter a little bit. I've done that many times. It's not a huge deal. I mean, obviously the butter's going to melt once you put it into the pan. So that looks pretty good. I am going to go wash my hands, and then we're just going to put these into individual balls. I would say venison's a little bit finer ground than your typical beef burger. So we might get 4 to 6 patties out of this. All right, so anytime you're using wild game like venison, elk, deer, you know, all those things, it is a leaner meat, so there is less fat in it. So you need that butter or like an egg or, you know, some binding ingredient to hold it together. These are holding really, really well. So hopefully they don't fall apart on us. But the good thing is we're making smash burgers, so they don't have to be perfect today. So it looks like I'm gonna get probably about 4 decent sized burgers, maybe 4.5 out of this. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting hungry. We are gonna actually do some onions, and we're gonna fry those up in the cast iron skillet before we put the burgers on. So the burgers are hanging out here. It's not gonna take me very long to throw them on the grill, but we could also put them in the fridge and let them just set up a little bit so they're not quite as soft. So we're gonna try to slice these up fairly thin. The thinner the better, that way they just cook quicker, because honestly, nobody wants to wait around for onions to brown. That's probably like the worst thing to do. And then this one, I don't know if we'll need it. If not, what we'll do is like chop it up and throw it in the freezer for later, because if you didn't know, that's a great way to use up your onions. All right, I actually am gonna go stick these in the fridge real quick. All right, so I prefer to use a cast iron skillet for smash burgers. Everybody's different. I know some people like to do them on like Blackstone grills, griddles, whatever you want to do. We do have a griddle option here, which I haven't used yet. Probably should try that sometime. But for now, we're using my trusty cast iron skillet. This is like my go-to for all things burgers, meat. Love it, highly recommend. So we're just gonna brown some butter in here. And then as soon as that happens, we're gonna add in the onions, let those get nice and translucent, nice and soft, and then we're gonna go ahead and put some burgers on. All right, so we're adding those onions in, letting them get nice and brown. So kind of keep, if you're cooking on a gas stove, probably keep it on low to like medium right now. That way it doesn't get too hot. All right, so those are about where I like them. They're gonna keep cooking a little bit anyway. So this will probably be good for about 2 burgers. And then we cook the other ones, we'll just add some more onions in. And I'm gonna turn the pan up, or the heat up just a little bit. And what we're gonna do is, there, gonna add a burger. And let that just cook. I know it's not touching the skillet too much, but just let it cook a little bit. Let it kind of get brown on that bottom side right there. You're gonna take a piece of parchment paper or wax paper, and once those have been cooking for 1 to 2 minutes or so, you're gonna take this and we are going to press all around on it. Get it nice and smashed. Try not to get splashed by the grease here. And we're just gonna put that over here to the side because we're gonna use that again. And you're just gonna let those cook for a few minutes more on that side. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and flip those over. Might turn that heat down just a little bit. And add a few of those onions on. Try not to burn myself here. Try not to get the onions too burnt. That's very easy to do. We're living dangerously right now, touching hot butter. All right, and then we're just gonna let those cook for maybe like a minute or two on that side. They are very thin. This should not take long to cook down. And then we're gonna add the cheese. And in my opinion, a good smash burger requires American cheese. I've tried it with others. It's just not as good. You need that like ooey gooey cheese in a smash burger. Like it's kind of what makes it. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that on there. If you want to, you can put a lid on to help melt the cheese a little bit faster. We can put this on. It's gonna trap that heat in there and it's just gonna make that cheese melt a lot quicker. I've got my heat on low right now just so I'm not overcooking it. All right, so we're gonna be using brioche buns today. You can use whatever bun you like. We just have a personal preference around here of brioche. It holds up really well and it's just kind of our favorite to have. Stores well in the freezer whenever we need to pull them out. So we're gonna do those. We're gonna toast them. I will say it toasts really quickly. I have been bit by the toaster a few times and burned my buns. Literally burned my buns. So just watch your toaster because you can have it pretty low, but you're gonna have to take them out before the end of when it's actually done. So we're just gonna keep an eye on those real quick. Fun, easy tip when you just don't want a lot of cleanup, get you some parchment paper. And these little like quarter sheets are just amazing. Anytime we have like crawfish boil or something like that, these are just super easy to eat off. So we're gonna use these today as our plates. So our buns are toasted. There were no casualties in this today, so that is a plus. All it takes is 1 minute to walk away from the toaster and your bun is ruined. So as far as toppings go for your burgers, it's honestly whatever you prefer. We like to do our sauce. We like a good pickle. Grillo's is probably like my favorite dill pickle chip. Just a nice crunch on it. And then lettuce and probably tomato. We've already got like our caramelized onions and the burger. That's just like the perfect combination. But if you want to add anything, take anything off, honestly, you just can't go wrong with this. So anything you're gonna do for your add-ons is gonna be perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna assemble these burgers. I mean, does that just not look delicious right now? Amazing. Cannot wait to dig into these. I am going to do my sauce. So I like to use a spoon instead of like a knife because honestly, anytime you're putting the sauce on, this is just like the easiest way to just get a couple spoonfuls on there. And honestly, don't be shy. The more sauce, the better. I think that looks good. We are going to add a little bit of lettuce just for a fresh crunch to our burger. I find a good piece here. And we're just gonna forego tomatoes because quite frankly, they're just not in season and they're just not that great right now. So we're gonna add our pickles. I like to add about 2 or 3. Right. I'm telling you, these are so good. All right, put our bun on. All right, and then I feel like we've got to try it, right? How much of a mess are we gonna make when we bite into this? Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Look at that. Like, do you just like see all of that goodness just dripping off of it? All right. Here we go. It is just probably one of the best comfort meals There's just something about a really good burger. And the barbecue sauce in the smash sauce really gives it a good, sweet, smoky flavor. You're getting that smoked paprika in the burgers, and then that ooey gooey cheese, and then the crispness of the pickles and the lettuce. It's just a 10 out of 10. So I highly recommend this. And I'm gonna go ahead and get our potato salad, and we're gonna eat lunch. And we're gonna get maybe like 2. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like a lot of potato salad. So I think that looks great. And quite frankly, another splash of ground pepper. And then let's go ahead and actually give it a try real quick. I know we tried it earlier, but it is like the perfect complement to this hot, just delicious smash burger. Again, I feel like in the summertime, anytime you're grilling, having a macaroni salad, potato salad, any cold element with a nice grilled burger, hot dog, whatever it may be, is just the perfect side dish. So highly recommend. And this is our lunch, and we're gonna go eat because I don't know about you, I am starving. We are gonna go literally chow down on this. One of the other recipes we are gonna make today is calling it Mom's Taco Dip. So this is a recipe that my mom has made many times. It's been a little while since she's made it, but it is a great appetizer recipe. If you're gonna be going to any 4th of July parties, anything throughout the summer, whether it's family reunion, whatever get together you're going for, or just, you know, a Saturday, Sunday afternoon and you want something to snack on, this is a perfect dip to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and make it. I am already browning a pound of hamburger right now. We're gonna get that browned, and then we're gonna add in our onion as well as our taco seasoning and some taco sauce. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so we've got the burger browned, and we've also drained the fat off of it. I went ahead and I added some onion and a packet of taco seasoning, and then about a cup of water. We're kind of cutting this recipe in half. Typically it would call for about 2 cups of water. It does just call for 1 pound of ground beef, but we're gonna make a slightly smaller serving today. And then I've added in a little bit of taco sauce. Typically, again, we don't have great measurements on some of these family recipes. I think it does call for about 1 jar of sauce. We're definitely not using that much today. I think we've got plenty of seasoning and sauce in here as it is. It is very runny. All right, so we're just gonna let that sit for a few minutes. It's on low cooking. Just kind of gonna let it combine a little bit more, and then we will take it off heat. All right, so we're gonna use a half sheet pan today to put our dip into. You can kind of use anything you want, whether it's like a round pizza pan situation or like a platter, I guess would probably be like the best way for it. You're gonna make this fairly thin. Each layer is gonna be fairly thin for the most part. So wherever you can get the most flat surface area is probably gonna be like your best bet. So today we're gonna use this. We're gonna fill it up. We may have some extras that we might just save, but for today's sake, we're not gonna make like a huge big recipe today. So gonna go ahead and we got the refried beans here, so we are going to get them out onto the pan. Try not to get too much of the liquid out of here. You could also make this with black beans, sometimes for a little bit of a healthier option. I like to just take a can of black beans and mash them up and maybe put like a little bit of taco seasoning in with them. So that's also an option if you would like to do that. All right, and we're just going to, they might not look the prettiest, but they will taste good. So just try to smooth it out the best that you can. This original recipe actually calls for 2 cans of beans, but like I said, today we are only doing about half the recipe. After we've browned our hamburger and added all of our additions to it, we're gonna let it chill in the refrigerator, or at least like let it cool out in the pan. I ended up sticking this in the freezer just for time's sake today, just to let it cool down a little bit. So we are going to put it over our beans now. It'll help too if you really get your ground burger really broken up when you're browning it. Sometimes that's easier to do. Sometimes it's not as easy, so you might just have a little bit bigger chunks of hamburger at times in your dip, and that's okay. All right, so I think that's pretty good. We have a little bit left. We're just gonna set it aside. And then next thing I'm gonna do is I've got some shredded lettuce here, and I'm just gonna add that. Whether it's shredded or chopped lettuce, honestly, just personal preference, use whatever you want to use. So that's pretty good. We probably could use a little bit more, but we're making a much smaller serving than what we would typically be making, so that is okay. And then I've got some shredded cheese over here. Again, we're varying a little bit off of the original recipe. This is some extra sharp cheddar, and I went ahead and put it in the food processor to shred it up. Makes much quicker work of a block of cheese. I don't know about you, but me and the grater are not always friends, and I have definitely almost lost my thumb a few times, so it happens. So that's pretty good. You could definitely add in a little bit more. And then we're gonna add some sour cream. I'm gonna end up using this, I think, newer container here of sour cream. Might make my job a little bit easier to spread it on there. You could also do this and probably put the sour cream down first, or just drizzling it on like it is now is fine. Okay. It's a pretty good layer. All right. And then I've got a few cherry tomatoes here. All right, so we're adding on our tomatoes. Another good thing to add to this could be some black olives. If you like black olives, that would also be a great addition to this. All right, so here we've had it. It's nothing super fancy. Like I said, we made about a half of a batch of dip. So as you can see, this would make quite a bit. So this is like perfect for a few people. I'm gonna get some chips. All right, let's see. It's delicious. The flavor of the beans combined with your taco flavored burger, your sour cream, lettuce, it all just melds so well together, and it's just a perfect little appetizer, snack. I mean, honestly, this could be lunch for today if we hadn't already stuffed ourselves previously. But 10 out of 10, definitely recommend for your next get together. We're gonna eat on this a little bit, and I hope you enjoyed all the recipes we made today. Again, everything's gonna be linked below. So yeah, thanks for coming to my rural kitchen.